We are the front office, and this is part 2 of our playoff preview episode. A lot to get off my chest about the playoffs. The first half was good. We kind of got to hash out what we thought about these bubble games leading into the playoffs, and the state of the team and the state of the climate of Nets fandom, the weird place that we are. I want to just say one last thing about where we're at as Nets fans. We are in the playoffs, and we've only missed the playoffs since we've been in Brooklyn, since the Nets have been in Brooklyn. We have only missed the playoffs 3 times. 5 and 3, I believe. We 5 out of, yeah. 5 and 3 missed. I think that's phenomenal. And it's over 2 regimes, and I say that's phenomenal because as one of those guys who used to be a Knicks fan until the Saint Mikhail Prokhorov made it possible for us to get free, us Brooklyn people, to root for our home and get free of Knicks fandom and the tyranny of giving James Dolan your money. It's when you were over there, you could go a decade. They've gone 7 years without being in the playoffs. They've gone to the lottery 4 times in that time, and they've drawn back Kristaps Porzingis, who they don't have anymore, Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox, and Barrett. That is a lot of pain of losing to get little back. So Nets fans, being us, having made the playoffs the last 2 years after making the worst trade in NBA history, we've got to have appreciation of these playoff games. These playoff games mean something. It's not just about, the overall goal, which I feel like people who feel you win a championship or you had a horrible season. No, you can't win a championship every year, but if your team is actively working towards winning a championship, if winning more than losing is the norm for you, that is a great part of your team's culture, and the stink of losing is something that is hard to wash off. It is a very hard thing to excise the cancer of losing from your team. So all of these people who are already in next season and can't wait for KD and Kyrie, next season is not promised to you, Jack. Next season, Lord forbid, and let me knock on wood, but Kevin Durant could get hit by a car. We're supposed to be with this team now. And that's why I'm excited about these playoffs. That's why I'm not gonna get caught up in the, are we gonna get this person or that person? Let me tell you, these playoffs are gonna decide a lot. These players are going to decide who's going to be with this team going forward. And some of the mythology of what these players want, if we look at Kevin Durant and Kyrie as GMs, they have been shitty GMs. They're the reason we have DeAndre Jordan when we already have Jarrett Allen, who's better. They're the reason we have Taurean Prince on this team. That's KD's boy. Right? And you know what? I'm going to say Garrett Temple is a benefit. I hate that he started over Karras. I hate that he's relied on so much. I hate that he plays so much minutes. But you want to know what? I unlike Dudley, I see the effect that he's having on this team as a leader and as someone who's helping Jacques Vaughn transition, because he could have opted out too on principle. And he didn't. So these guys are fighting for us. This is our team. This is, for all the people who talk about the misery of being a New Jersey Nets fan, how are you not happy how are you not thrilled about having this young team? Your starting center is 21. Your sometime starting power forward is 21 as well. Your star is 24. Is he 20? Is Karras 25 or 24?
I think he's 25 or 26 because he spent all those years in college.
Yeah, no,
he's 25. Turning 26 actually, a week from Tuesday.
Yeah, so he's not young, but still, he's going into his prime. And Karras is a late bloomer, by the way. I'll talk a little bit after that. Still, this team is awesome. We've got a lot of flaws. Sean Marks made a lot of mistakes putting this roster together. But Karras and Jarrett was like, you know what? We don't care. And they just went out there and they balled. I just wish if Dinwiddie was here, I'd feel so much more confident. But let's talk about it. I don't want to do we even have a shot against Toronto type of thing because, good smart money would bet Toronto. But do you feel good about this playoffs in any kind of way, Sam?
In terms of winning, here's the deal. I actually think that if they were playing another type of top seed, let's just say they wwere playing like the Lakers or something, right?
Yeah.
I could see even a juggernaut like the Clippers. I could see them kind of making a bunch of games really close because I think those are the type of teams that will totally overlook them. Mm-hmm. The issue I have is that the Raptors are a team with a chip on its shoulder, with an unbelievable coach, and that play incredibly hard defense and have a million guys that can guard Karras, and that's what just generally makes me nervous. Having said that, look, this team has surprised us the entire last 2 to 3 weeks in the bubble. So whatever happens, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very happy to do that. I think what you said at the top was very profound. There is you look at teams like the Suns and the Timberwolves and a lot of those fans, like the Knicks, whatever. A lot of these teams don't make the playoffs ever, and
right.
The Nets have been, and whether it's been a lot of times it's been a 7 or an 8 seed or whatever it's been, this is a good thing, and they have beyond. I know we're not even looking forward to next season, but this is just the beginning, and we're going to see which of these guys can be playing with the big guns next year.
Yeah, and we could call bullshit on some of the thinking. If look, I think Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen together can drag us into a competitive series with Toronto. Out of all the teams that we could have played, Toronto is the one. I didn't want to play Toronto, and I didn't want to play the Bucks, obviously. Yeah. And it's because out of all the teams, the one team that outsmarts us every single time is Toronto.
Yep.
We've played some very competitive basketball against them. But they're just so solid where they need to be solid. They're not going to necessarily have bad shooting nights. You know why? Because they get really good shots close to the basket. They play super hardcore defense. They're so big. But if the Nets can just hang their hat on Karras, I think Karras could be the best player in that series. No disrespect to Siakam. And I know this is probably with some, black and white tinted glasses for Brooklyn. Siakam is very good, but Karras is still the type of guy that at any given point he could just give you 50. Karras is the type of guy that could just basically be having a bad night, scoring the ball, and just have an elite night distributing the ball, and with Joe Harris shooting from off of the wing. we could be better. Now, obviously, and this is the thing I hate about certain arguments with Nets fans. Obviously, the smart money is to just go, Nets don't have a shot against Toronto. Let's start talking about who we could get in the offseason to put next to KD and Kyrie.
No.
You know, we're not going to do that here at the front office. We're not those type of fans, and we're not going to cover the team in such a gratuitous way. Tell me why I'm crazy, or if I'm not crazy about that. Karras can have a moment that he just goes into a zone and is better than Siakam for 7 games. Why is that crazy?
Look, I mean, the thing we haven't discussed there with the Raptors is the Raptors tend to always lose game 1 in these series. They even did with Kawhi to the Magic last year. And look, I could easily see the thing is like and I think you tweeted this and I totally agreed with it. If the Nets have Dinwiddie in this series, I could easily see Toronto getting tight because they're the defending champs and they're trying to prove a lot. But like if they start slow, then I think doubt kind of, just to play the psychological doctor for a second, playing the NBA psychiatrist, I think I could see them kind of second guessing themselves and being like, yeah, we were always a good regular season team, but Kawhi was the guy that put us over the top.
Right.
And so if they started slow, I could see that. The issue is I'm missing that one other guy the Nets need. But look, if LeVert has shown anything to himself, it's that he can be the guy and you can win games with him, which I think a lot of people would have thought maybe 6 months ago, oh, LeVert could be the best player on a 15-win team. And now I think it's like, no, like he could, if you have him as your 1 or your 2, whatever it is, you can definitely nab off some games because his style is just tough to guard. Like he just is a difficult guard.
And I think the way he plays now is more conducive to playoff basketball because he's breaking you down, and then he now has the option of the mid-range. When Kenny Atkinson was running the show, Karras would get into that, like basically the type of guard Karras is he'll catch the ball with with someone being able to set a pick for him. He'll come around the pick and he'll drive to the lane, and typically he's either I'm driving to the lane, I'm getting all the way to the bucket, or I'm passing. He didn't have that third option of I'm just gonna pull up, stop right here, and shoot a 15-footer or a 12-footer or a 10-footer. Now that he has that option, he's harder to guard.
Yep.
And the shackles have been taken off of him, and where so for me, obviously Karras is the most important person, but this series is won with this player being the pivotal decision maker. And at first I was going to say Rhodey, and we'll talk about Rodions and the type of impact he can have on this playoffs. But the person who's going to decide if we win and lose this series is Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. What TLC and Tyler Johnson has been able to do is they've been able to make it the track meet that the Nets picture. So whereas the Nets are super small, they can't rebound, and the other day Portland just slapped us on the offensive boards.
Yep.
I don't love that. However, they're able to run out with Tyler Johnson and Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot being, playing well. Running out with TLC ending in some kind of like horrible shot at the end of the play is what killed Nets offense many times. Defenses would try to force the ball to TLC and